Hey Leanne, I think you did a really great job this week with your video presentation, and I really enjoyed the topic you decided to write about. Um, and I do believe that it's really important to have ethics in social and the digital realms. I found your critique of the Nine Commandments of Social Media article to be really interesting. And I also actually agree that social and digital media have grown so fast and so quickly in the last decade alone that it is hard to keep up with everything. And these media types have just grown into things that, we couldn't have ever dreamed of, which is both a good thing and a bad thing, kind of like you mentioned. Um, I also appreciated your take on the need for etiquette, transparency, and authenticity, especially in social media. I think this is true for organizations as well that decide to use digital mediums like social media. Even though housing sites themselves, like Facebook, need to make sure they're acting with the best interests of their stakeholders in mind, they don't always do this. So I think that is one of the ethical standards that maybe sites like Facebook should definitely improve upon. For an example was in the book The Sage Handbook of Social Media Research Methods, and it is by Kelsey Benninger, and she speaks about obtaining informed consent. So she's requesting that social media sites do obtain informed consent from participants to understand what they're taking part of and how data collection on these sites may affect them. So, for instance, I think it's only fair for Facebook to hold those standards to any people who decide to house applications on those sites. So you know how a lot of people do like those answer a couple questions about yourself and you get to see what your spirit animal is. So, while those are fun, it also is a way for companies to gain information about you, about the consumers and what they're looking for, and it helps them decide what to market and when to market these items. But unfortunately, they may be invading people's privacy as well. So, Facebook is usually pretty good about themselves, like telling people and being transparent with what they're going to do with their data, but I think they also need to withhold those same standards for applications on that site as well. Um, and I also wanted to touch a little bit on the authenticity point you made and relate it to catfishing because I think this is a really good example of an ethical issue in social media. Obviously, organizations don't take part in this, but this is more on the personal spectrum. And for those who don't know what catfishing is, it's essentially pretending to be someone else through utilizing somebody else's pictures or just putting on a false persona in hopes of attracting people. So this could be platonically or romantically. Essentially, somebody just wants to portray that they have an amazing life or that they're really beautiful and a model, even when they're not. And so I think that it's a temptation of social media that's really relevant to the topic of authenticity, especially when it comes to ethics. And I think we should definitely start talking to children and younger generations the importance of being authentic online because if you're not, it can actually lead you into a lot of problems, like human trafficking and a lot of bad things. So I think it's really important to touch on that transparency and authenticity as well. So do you think that we should speak to younger generations? And when is too young, I guess is my question. So, really great post this week, and I enjoyed interacting with you. I can't wait to see what we are going to talk about next.